Good morning. You'll be turning to Psalms 121. You see, my title of the message today was, Where Are You Going? Psalms 121 is part of a section in Psalms there, from Psalms 120 to 134. It's kind of known as the Song of Ascents, or I guess it's a section that talks about how the people were traveling to Zion, the Jews. Basically, this was songs that they sang on their way to Zion, basically to Jerusalem, to help them, encourage them as they were traveling. And they generally traveled to Jerusalem for three major things: the Passover, Pentecost, and the Feast of Tabernacles. So when you look on the map, Jerusalem is up, and you're going to travel through hills to get there. In Psalms 121, let's read that short psalm there, and we'll see if we can apply this to our life today. Starting in verse 1, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forever. There's a lot in that. In verse 1 it says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. Most of the time in our life, we have many things that happen. When the pilgrim here was looking up into the hills, he had all kinds of things going on in his mind. Because in those hills were wild animals, there was robbers, there was all kinds of threats. And as we read through there, he has a little bit of fear, doesn't he? Of what's around the next hill, what's around the bend. And he asks, where does my help come from? And verse 2 tells him exactly where. It comes from the Lord, the one who made heaven and earth. When we look at our lives, how do we look at them? Is it defined by activities and events that go on in our life? The birth, graduation, marriage, kids, grandkids, jobs. Is that how our life is defined? Most commonly. I mean, when people stop you on the street, what's the first thing they do? Well, what you been up to? Well, what are you doing? Have you ever had too many of them say, where are you going? Where are we going? I mean, ask yourself that question. Where are we going? Are we traveling to Zion just like these pilgrims did? Hubie and Roger always use a phrase, and I always thought, why are they doing that? How you doing, pilgrim? That's what we are, aren't we? Aren't we pilgrims? We're pilgrims traveling. And yet I think sometimes we get so wound up in what's going on around us that we forget where we're traveling to. This last week from Monday through Friday, there was lots of travel for me. And lots of upsetness, lots of obstacles, lots of things that happened that I wasn't sure of. I was fearful. And I keep thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? And the problem with that is the fact that I said, what am I going to do? I should have been saying, Lord, you're the one that's going to help me. You're the one that's going to be my helper. If you'll quickly turn over to Romans 8:28, and we all know this one. We all use it frequently. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. We stand on that, don't we? But let's read the next verse. For those God foreknew, He also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of His Son, that He might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those He predestines, He also called. Those He called, He also justified. And those He justified, He also glorified. God foreknew us. He predestined us to be conformed to the image of His Son. That's our journey, to be conformed to the image of His Son. That's what He wants for us. He's trying to perfect us on this journey. He knows where we started from, and He knows what we're going to be encountering all along the way. He already knows that. He's just hoping that we will ask Him for help. That's pretty tough, isn't it? Society today pretty much indoctrinates us that we need to be self-sufficient. When I grew up, my parents raised me, you got to be self-sufficient. You got to take care of yourself. Well, there's probably nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you can take it too far. God tells us what? That He is our helper. We don't like to ask for help, do we? I can do it on my own. I got this. It's hard to ask for help. But yet He tells us He's our helper. You know, there are a lot of people that are willing to help. A lot of people end up being no help at all. And there's some that really want to help, but they just can't. They're not able to. God is one that will never let us down. Ever. He will never let us down. If we ask Him for help, He's there always. He never fails. What are the hills that stand between us and Zion? Every one of us has them. Every one of us has situations that happen in our life that are not planned. They're not accounted for. They're confusing. There's something that puts fear in our life. Many of them are related to health issues as we grow older. Several of us are suffering from those right now. A lot of them are from job situations, situations that we're unsure of. Well, this didn't work out the way I thought. deaths in the family. That can be struggles. Those are things that are lurking in the hills that we're traveling through. Whatever is in those hills, though, is part of our journey, isn't it? It's how we get through those. When we ask for help from God, He will help us through those. And of course, that help comes from who? The Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Who greater could that be? The one made this heaven and earth. As we read in Romans 8 there, He foreknew us, He predestined us. He called us on this journey. When we became a Christian, God was drawing us towards Him, wasn't He? He already knew. He was drawing us towards Him. We followed in obedience. And now He's put us on this course that we're thinking, I thought this was all going to be a bed of roses. I mean, He said this is going to be great, and yet I'm experiencing so many of these problems. Why is this? Do you think He would put anything in our path that He didn't know we could handle? Now, I'll guarantee you, it's going to stress you out, isn't it? Because you think there's no way. I can't handle this. I'm not going to say we because I'll speak for myself. I always go to the negative. My glass is always half empty. I'm one of those that just, nothing ever really is quite, the way it should be. Jill is just the opposite, so I don't know. I guess we balance out. But I can always think of the worst of what could happen. Driving through Salt Lake when you got 5 lanes and everything's running at 65, 75, 80 miles an hour, and it goes in the back of your mind, you're in the middle lane trying to just be kind of work in, and you think, what if I had a flat? Oh, how am I going to get over? I mean, those things go through your mind and you think, that's when I have to say, Lord, just keep the tires inflated. Just keep everybody in their lane. Let me get to my destination. But those are the things that go through your mind, isn't it? When something happens to your spouse, when something happens to one of your kids, something that's close to you, your parents, those things are tough to get through sometimes. And you have to just say, Lord, help me through this. Keep me on the right track. Because Satan is there and he is going to occupy your mind with all of this other stuff. And he will keep your eyes off of where you're going, where you're headed. He'll keep you confined in this spot that, this is bad. You better really work on how to figure this out, instead of looking ahead to the goal. As I said, we define our lives with events, with activities. And just think about it, how you do that throughout the week. I mean, when you plan your week, how is it planned? I'm doing this day, and I'm going to do this day, and this that day. And that's how we do that. Common practice. And then something throws a wrench in it. And then we got to start all over. Square one. Cancel this, cancel this, cancel this. Here we go. On a journey that's unknown. In verse 5 it says that the Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. He's just like your shadow. The Lord is always there. Now sometimes we think He's gone. That where are you at, Lord? But He is always there. Sometimes we're just not looking for Him. He's always there. He promises to be as close as our shadow. As I said before, sometimes it's hard to put God in the role as a helper, but He is. He is our helper, and we can't make it without Him. He cares for us more than anyone could ever care for us. So many times we have those insecurities. We feel like we can't move forward, that we're stuck. Sometimes we want to break old habits or start new habits. Hopefully good new habits. But it seems like it's just too much. We just can't do it. If we rely on our own wisdom and will, it is. We won't be able to do it. It's only with God's help that we can do that. The pilgrims had to sleep in those dangerous hills, not knowing what lurked in the dark. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, do we? We could have all kinds of things. Of course, I won't go into that because I could think of all the bad things that could happen. But we are really kind of in the dark, aren't we? And the only light we have is God. That's the only light we have. His hand may be invisible, but it's always there helping us, making sure that nothing stops us on our journey. You know, when we finally get there to our destination, to heaven, when we get there and we look back on what we've been through, that's when we'll understand fully what God had all planned out. It may not look very pretty here. I think there's no way. Why would you do this? But He has a plan. He has it all figured out. How we're going to handle each situation. Is it easy? No. He tells us many times it's a race to be run. Anytime you're in a race, it's not easy, is it? You're giving it your all. Everything. And then if it's an endurance race, it's taken a lot out of you, isn't it? To stick with it, it takes everything you got. Isn't that what He wants? Everything that we have? Isn't that what we're supposed to give up, is our old self and become new through Christ? I don't know of anything in life that's easy. There are good times. When it comes right down to it, living life is a test. And God is there to help us through it, if we let Him. As we go about this next week, I will guarantee you there will be something over the hill. There'll be something lurking around the corner that's going to say, hey, occupy yourself with this. Try to figure this one out. And it's going to try to keep our eyes off of where we should be going. But if we ask the one who made heaven and earth, the one that's there just as our shadow is, if we ask Him for help, He's there, no matter what. So where are we going? Are we on the right path? If we're having a few struggles, we probably are. If there's anyone here that might need to make a decision to start that journey that has such a great end, a great reward at the end of it, or if there's someone that has other need, let that be known as we stand and sing our closing song.